Robin Hood Radio presents Stage Right or Not with Michele Willens. Michele is a longtime journalist and herself is a published playwright of several theatrical works. She's a frequent contributor to the Huffington Post, Daily Beast, and the Atlantic websites.
Another show. Well, we are in our second week of February, I think, heading toward the year anniversary of this hideous intermission. The theater news continues to be, well, mostly about postponements, obituaries, and the continuous merging of stage and screen. Now, as I reported last week, the Tony Awards voting will be in March, but the awards themselves will be given out, quote, in coordination with the return of Broadway, according to the Theater League. Well, good luck with that. The Golden Globe nominations, which focus on film and TV and are taken seriously by exactly no one, just came out and do include some familiar stage names, including Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's filmed Hamilton, was nominated, as was he, and Leslie Odom Jr., who was in Hamilton but is nominated for playing Sam Cooke in One Night in Miami, a play, by the way, turned into film. And various other nominations for The Prom. The less said about that, the better. Well, now there's the question of whether the Disney Plus version of Hamilton can be eligible for an Oscar, whenever that is. Anyway, meanwhile, Miranda's filmed adaptation of his Tony-winning first play, In the Heights, finally arrives in June. And the cast and crew of Come From Away will get together for a performance that will be filmed and shown, I don't think, until September. Which reminds me, whatever happened to the Princess Diana one for Netflix? Well, let's keep an eye on that. As for what is coming up to stream from home, there is a lot, and from all over. For example, the Studios of Key West, that's one entity, has a rather stellar cast for Drew Larimore's new play Smithtown, which deals with the impact of technology on our lives. It's made up of 4 interconnected monologues, including one read by the delightful Michael Urie. That's up from February 13th through the 27th, can be found through the studios of keywest.org. But back here in New York, the Mint Theater is streaming its second past production called Katie Roche, written by Teresa Deevy. It's now on the Mint Company's site. I can't recall if I saw this one. I probably did. But the Mint is always worth supporting for discovering long-forgotten works. Now, the Mint's first streamed play, written by Lillian Hellman, is called Days to Come, and it remains viewable. And speaking of Lillian Hellman, Little Wars, Stephen Carl McCaslin's play, is about 7 highly interesting actual women meeting up in a salon, just as France is falling under Germany's power. Hellman is a guest at the home of Gertrude Stein and Alice B. Toklas, as are Dorothy Parker and Agatha Christie. 7 super actresses here in their little squares, but very much with us, reciting lines like, "Time is always moving, even when we want it to stand still." And as Stein says to Hellman at one time, "I pour out my heart, you spew out your bile." I plan on following this play. Apparently it's a new one. And I am a tad surprised and impressed, by the way, that it's penned by a man. Highly recommended, and it's up through February 14th on BroadwayOnDemand.com. And then there is the odd but well-publicized play called The Catastrophist that comes from prolific playwright Lauren Gunderson, and it's about her husband, who is in the science, as in viral world. This is an unusual two-hander, to be sure, not being loved by all, but it is streaming through February 28th. Tickets are $30 a household, and you find that one on marintheater.org, M-A-R-I-N. And then we have the Cherry Artists Collective's production of Hotel Good Luck. That one is written by Alejandro Ricaño. It was live streamed from Ithaca, it is live streamed from Ithaca's Historic State Theater. That one is up from February 12th through the 20th. Just Google Cherry Artist Collective or Hotel Good Luck and it should arise. Now, if you're not scared enough these days, you might enjoy the radio thriller Sorry, Wrong Number from 1943. I think that also became a movie. It's about a bedridden woman who was being targeted by killers. Her phone is her only connection to the outside world. Sounds familiar. Marcia Mason leads the cast. That's up February 15th at 7 p.m. via the Keene Company. Well, I will remind you about that next Monday when it actually premieres. And Fiasco Theater. Now, that's one I'm not familiar with, but it is presenting This Bud of Love for several days this week, free of charge. It's geared to Valentine's Day and encompasses music, poetry, and theater. It should be fun. Simply Sondheim is starting up again, thanks to the Signature Theater, and will play through March 26th. They've got plenty of time on that one, and you can find it on sigtheater.org. Now, if you're hungry, the kitchen plays from the Eden Theater Company are a trio of pieces that take place where folks are preparing foods or eating them. The most entertaining is the second one, about one of those cook-off TV shows. At least you think that is what it's about. And Hershey Felder's world premiere of Before Fiddler can be found various places, starting with the Berkshire Theater Group. This one remains available for a slight charge all week long. In this one, Felder portrays Shalom Aleichem, whose stories, of course, were the inspiration for Fiddler on the Roof. On that subject, sort of, next Sunday, the 14th, the Jewish Women's Theater is presenting Odd Woman Out, a series of essays and monologues. I have my ticket already, as the company always tends to strike nerves, Jewish or not, emotionally. This being Black History Month, let me again mention that Syracuse Stage is offering a production of Anna Devere Smith's Twilight, Los Angeles. It features Patrice D. McLean and showcases how a creative team led by director Steve Brodnow III marshals technology to create a highly theatricalized on-demand event. This is only up till Sunday, and it deals with a 1992 incident in Los Angeles that sadly feels as resonant as ever. And you might check out Lincoln Center at home for its Black History Month offerings, including an iconic dance created by Alvin Ailey and a one-woman piece by Sarah Jones. That's about the life and times of Martin Luther King. Jones is always a treasure, and like Anna Devere Smith, a master of shifting from character to character in front of our eyes and ears. It seems like we end up every report these days remembering a great stage name who died during the week. Well, we're up to two biggies at this point. I mean, for this last week. Hal Holbrook, who was 95, did memorable work in all mediums. He was a regular star in some of the best of what we used to call movies of the week on TV, including That Certain Summer, which was considered a very brave one at the time because it dealt with homosexuality. As for movies, well, who can forget his clandestine meetings with Robert Redford in dark garages as Deep Throat? As for stage, well, Holbrook will always be remembered as a man who brought Mark Twain back to life. He almost invented the one-man show with this piece, performing it in virtually every city of every state over 6 decades. And then there's Christopher Plummer. What can we say? Another of those actors who did it all. Yes, many think back on The Sound of Music, but his portfolio goes way, way beyond that. He won 1 Oscar, 2 Tonys, 2 Emmys, and many nominations in between. His last film was All the Money in the World, playing a very rich guy named Getty, and he came in at the last minute, you might recall, to replace Kevin Spacey. Many of us considered Plummer one of those amazing Brits. In fact, he was born in Canada and died, well, Jill, not far from you, at his home in Connecticut, and he will be missed.
Stage Right or Not with Michele Willens, produced in the studios of Robin Hood Radio, robinhoodradio.com.